What exactly does it mean for single-sex wards in the NHS, changing rooms, public toilets, sport, advice for children in schools? Should trans women, for example, be allowed to use women's changing rooms? Baroness Faulkner, the head of the Equality and Human Rights Commission, which protects the rights of both women and the trans community, says no.
Single-sex services, like changing rooms, must be based on biological sex. If a male person is allowed to use a women-only service or facility, it isn't any longer single-sex. Then it becomes a mixed-sex space.
Baroness Faulkner is equally clear about trans women competing in sport and being able to access women's refuges. She suggested trans rights groups should now advocate for what she called third spaces. But trans activists say the Supreme Court ruling means their rights are melting away and in some cases may put them in danger. Charlie Crack campaigns for the rights of the trans community.
It's really sad that we are this tiny community of less than 1% of the population being thrown under the bus for the actions of predatory men, and not just thrown under the bus but thrown into the toilets with those predatory men.
The Conservative leader Kemi Badenoch said she now wanted a review of the law to ensure it was there to prevent discrimination, not for social engineering. The government says the court's ruling has provided clarity and there will be new guidance in due course. Some changes have already happened. British Transport Police have adopted a new interim position which will see trans people held in custody searched by an officer in line with their birth sex. It means trans women will be searched by male officers. Across the public sector, guidelines are hurriedly being reviewed.
Current NHS guidance says trans people should be accommodated according to their presentation. The Care Minister, Karen Smith, said healthcare providers would be complying with the Supreme Court's rulings, along with every other public body, but more homework might be needed on what it would mean in practice. Here's our health editor, Hugh Pym.
A spokesperson for NHS England said there was a review of current guidance on same-sex accommodation, and as part of this process there would be consideration of all relevant legislation and the ruling. The guidance was published in September 2019 and states that trans people should be accommodated in wards according to their presentation, the way they dress and the names and pronouns they use. The chair of the Equality and Human Rights Commission has said there had been dialogue with the health service for some time and there would be a push to get them to update advice. The Health Minister, Karen Smith, covering England, acknowledged that adjustments were needed.
One of the issues that we are already looking at with the NHS is how they make sure that trans people are treated with privacy and dignity, but the ruling is very clear that sex means biological sex, and that's the NHS